Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. So, as you can see, I am back in the US, but nonetheless, I'm gonna head right into today's news update because I have a lot for you this morning. Now, a storm is brewing in Washington as leaked messages from a Signal group chat among top US officials have surfaced, detailing plans for a military operation in Yemen. These messages, inadvertently shared with Jeffrey Goldberg, who is a editor of The Atlantic, have led to accusations that Trump administration officials misled Congress by denying the inclusion of classified information in their communication. Now, the leaked messages contain sensitive operation details, including bombing schedules and drone launch times, despite attempts to downplay the situation. And the administration faces intense scrutiny over the apparent security breach. Now, I've heard either be Pete Hegseth or even Donald Trump himself try to deflect this mishap all the way to Obama of using this particular app or this communication line. Here's my thing about me being not in the involvement of a bipartisan or tripartisan. Whether I'm taking a side of a Republican or Democrat or even an independent. When you just stay neutral to the information, you stay neutral to the news, you stay neutral to the evidence, this is what I call BS on the behalf of the Trump administration, because you have to come out and say, hey, there was a mishap. It was on our behalf. Because when we're talking about transparency, when we have the Department of Government Efficiency to go in and we're slashing all of these large government programs that's been costing Americans millions of dollars, when there are mistakes and there's mix-ups and they are astronomical as this seems to be, because this information could have gotten to the wrong hands and could have basically foiled the mission of those attack bombs that was dropped in Yemen. Just come out and say, hey, listen, we made a mix-up, we made a mistake, we're going to be more stringent going forward. Now, a lot of American people will still be on board. A lot of American people like, okay, things happen, but they're going to take the necessary steps to ensure that the information and where the information goes to and come from are verifiable. Again, this was a large mistake, but no one is taking responsibility. We teach our kids, we teach our youth, we teach our teenagers to take responsibility of the mistakes that we've made. We even try to do that to ourselves, like, hey, my apologies, I made a mistake, no matter the gravity of the situation. But because this is possibly a fireable offense, and as all eyes are looking at Pete Hegseth, but nonetheless, this is why Donald Trump put certain people in place, right? Not only should they be loyal to the president in some regards, okay, in some regards, according to the law, but they should be loyal to the American citizens. And that is what I'm missing here. When you make mistakes of this magnitude and this gravity, just come out and state that you made a mistake. No, regardless of what you may believe the backlash is, just come out and state that you made a mistake. That's all I'm saying. Now, in a significant legal setback, a federal appeals court has upheld a temporary block on the Trump administration efforts to expedite the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members. Now, and this was all done under the Alien Enemies Act of, I think it was 1798, 1799, which is a rarely, invoked wartime law from the 18th century. This is a very old law that they're utilizing. They're still in the books, no less. And the DC Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the administration failed to demonstrate a likelihood of success in overturning the lower court's decision. Now, this ruling underscores the ongoing legal battle surrounding the administration's stringent immigration policies. And I'm just going to show you guys a couple of graphics here, as I do time to time. If you're new to Blacklogic, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you're notified every time I release a video or I go live.
Immigrants to El Salvador without due process.
We're getting the bad ones out first, and we're taking them out And there's some really bad ones, murders.
Monday, an appeals court heard arguments over the administration using a wartime law, the Alien Enemies Act, to fly out alleged gang members, a judge pressing the Justice Department.
Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Meanwhile, another judge
What did she just say? Did she just say that Nazis got better treatment under the Aliens Enemies Act? Of course they did. Because unfortunately, even though America and all these other Western countries were fighting against the Nazis, America recruited Nazi scientists, Nazi researchers, Nazi engineers, and they're some of the ones who helped speed up our space program, as well as cryptology in America. But why even bring up the Nazis? You see, when these judges do these blocks, barricades, they slow down the process of illegal immigrants inside of our country. Okay, and granted, if they're being misdiagnosed or misaligned with certain gang affiliates, then they should step in. But this has been an ongoing occurrence ever since Donald Trump has been in has been the president, no less. So again, there still need to be evidence there to show that they're somehow tied or related to gangs. And again, just taking ICE, immigration, investigators, and other law enforcement word for it, that's the only information that the American people have at the current time. So unless you have some verifiable truth, a lot of these federal judges are coming out, they're stopping, they're slowing the process, then show us the evidence that you have to stop what's going on currently.
held his order blocking the flights Monday after ruling immigrants facing deportation need a chance to challenge the designation that they're Trinidad gang members to prevent mistakes. President Trump's border czar Tom Homan told me the highest levels at ICE guaranteed him those deported were gang members.
It's based on social media, it's based on witness statements, it's based on victim statements, it's based on surveillance, numerous ways ICE goes through determining who's a gang member, who's not.
But some family members of those deported say they weren't gang members and didn't have criminal records. The case raising fears from Boston to New Mexico that ICE could be detaining the wrong people.
He's a very hardworking father of 2 kids.
They're putting everyone into the same category.
This has
Now, not to debunk the claims, and I would never state that tattoos make you guilty of crimes, even to a certain extent. But let me tell you this. If someone has a U.S. Army tattoo on their body, there's certain conclusion that one can make. One is that that person is part of the Army. 2, that person was used to be part of the Army. 3, that person is close to somebody who's affiliated or who's in or who was in the Army. Or 4, somehow, some way, this person does love the Army, right? Because I've seen people have all sorts of tribal tattoos, anime tattoos. They never been an anime character. They don't know anybody who makes anime, but they just love anime. So again, you're somehow connected to, directly or indirectly, when you start to have gang or group or organizational tattoos. As I stated before, this tattoo right here, United States Marine Corps, I associate myself with the Marine Corps, and I used to be a U.S. soldier as well. So again, tattoos do mean things. People don't just randomly get gang or cartel tattoos just for the hell of it. Like, yeah, I know that cartel over there. They have some really good symbols and sounds on them. You know what? Let me get that tattoo. That's usually not how it works. But that is the way they're kind of trimming this up to be, and I'm calling foul. I just can't believe that. Not at all. And they were talking about the treatment, and I don't know if you guys know Kristi Noem. Now, she is the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary. Let me first put the premise out there. She's the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary, and what she recently toured El Salvador's Terrorism Confinement Center, also known as CCOT. And this is a massive maximum security prison, which I've showed clips on here to give you guys the full spectrum of how locked down this facility is, how they treat the prisoners, with the prisoners. Where you see none of the prisoners have shirts. Most of the prisoners, I believe, have socks and they have boxers on, but all of them get shaved heads. None of them keep their identity. And you can see right here in the picture, in the backdrop here, okay, other criminals as she's standing in front of them. Again, this is a very massive maximum security prison that house individuals from around the world, but mostly from Central America as well as El Salvador. The majority of the culprits there are from El Salvador, and they're from gangs and cartels around, the Central America region. Now, they also are housing those individuals who were deported from the U.S. That includes alleged Venezuelan gang members, because during Kristi Noem's visit, she delivered a stark message to potential illegal immigrants. Do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and prosecuted. This visit highlights the administration's unwavering commitment to strict immigration enforcement and has sparked discussions about human rights and due process. I get it. I get what they're getting. I get what, both sides are saying. This is possibly human rights, but again, people are coming into America illegally. And we have to find some deterrence other than just a border wall, because as many Democrats and liberals have stated, they'll just climb the wall. They'll just dig under the wall. Again, a wall is a deterrent. Just like a door in your house is a deterrent. Can someone still break in? Yeah, someone can just kick in your door, get a battling ram. Someone can break inside your house using your window, but they are deterrent. No one is just leaving their doors open, windows open, like, just come on in. But that is how America has always been. And now that we have an administration in place that at least cares about the border, I'm not saying they care about the people, they care about this, but it seems as though that the Trump administration cares about the security of America, one, and cares about the fraud, waste, and abuse of all these, deep government state entities, these NGOs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At least we know they care about that. Now, what they're doing behind closed doors in cahoots with one another, that is, believe me, a larger story for another day of conspiracy theories. Only Elon Musk and Donald Trump is going to get richer. I've heard all the rumors and I've heard all of the rhetoric. Is it true? I don't know. Is it false? I don't know. This is why we should never take sides as American citizens. And this is why I propose, and I'm going to propose it once again, that when candidates are running, you shouldn't even know who the candidate is, because again, they get you in this emotional back and forth of, let's paint this person as a bad person. Let's paint this person as a good person, and then vice versa. And then you are emotionally torn, because at first you used to be Republican. Now you're a Democrat. Oh, the Democrats, because they point out all the faults of the Democrats, and this person's going to do this and they're going to destroy the country, but it's mostly based upon the person. So now you turn back to Republican, and then vice versa. You know what? I'm just going to stay in the middle here. I'm going to be independent. And then you have people who vote, who run for independent offices. And then you're like, well, they're not doing anything progressive or anything that's going to essentially help the country or even my family. And this is why I propose this. Whether it be 1, 2, 3 or ABC, what am I referring to? Don't show us the candidates. They don't got to run and spend millions of dollars and ask for funding, because this would just be too easy. They always want you to focus on a face. Is this face presidential? Because again, I want you guys to really think back. I want to kind of go back. Who was it? Was it Theodore Roosevelt? I'm trying to remember the last president that wore a hat. I'm trying to remember the last president that wore glasses publicly. Now, I believe I even saw Barack Obama. I've seen a couple of presidents wear glasses as they're reading or signing things. Even Bill Clinton, I believe, wore glasses at one point in time. But publicly, do they wear glasses? No American president. Now, if you go back further enough, of course, you're going to find one. What American president wore hats? I mean, in suits, though. I remember Herman Cain. And again, Herman Cain has passed away. I have nothing ill will to say about Herman Cain, but just making a reference. Two things that I saw when it comes to the perception and the imagery of Herman Cain. Not that he was a black man. Not that Herman Cain was a black Republican. Not that Herman Cain was a businessman. Herman Cain wore glasses publicly and he wore hats publicly in suits. When I saw that, I was like, he actually ran very briefly for the president of the United States of America. And I said, nope, he doesn't fit the mold. He doesn't fit the image. You see what I mean? We are so emotionally of how our president should look. They should be tall, medium to slender build. Other than Donald Trump, if you go back and you look at the presidents, you look at Joe Biden, he was thin. Barack Obama, he was thin. Donald Trump, I believe he was probably even a little bigger, but he wasn't fat, but he wasn't skinny, but he was medium sized, a little out of shape from what we could tell in this suit. Because I mean, he's an older man. He's not like he's lifting weights and muscles and running miles or whatever. But you get what I'm getting at. When the last time we had a fat American president? Again, if you go back farther enough, if you go back far enough, you will probably see it, but not George Bush, George H. and W. Bush, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan. Again, if you just look at the pure perception of what an American president should look like, you don't see it. Now let's look at something else. I believe that Herman Cain had a goatee or he had facial hair. American presidents don't do facial hair. Now, I believe J.D. Vance has facial hair, okay? And I might pop that up later just for reference. But if he runs, do not be surprised if J.D. Vance, his last year or two under Donald Trump, shaves his hair. Now, granted, everybody has this image of what J.D. Vance looks like. And again, he may keep it because that's part of his image. And we've accepted that, okay, as the VP. And we can see that going forward. But a lot of politicians who run publicly don't have facial hair. Again, I'm not even getting into the bad things the Republicans and Democrats say about each other. But what if they just had ABC 1, 2, 3? What I'm talking about. When the next election comes up, they said the political party A, right? And it could be the Democrats or it can be the Republicans or the independents. This is their plans. They're like, well, who plans are these? Under the A plan, are these Democrat, Republican? No. The American people, we want transparency. We want things to be plain and simple. You're going to get that. We're going to just give you the policies. We're not going to give you the male or female. We're not going to give you the party. We're not going to give you the ideology. We're not going to give you these slander campaigns of these commercials. Oh, if you select this person, then they're going to kill democracy. No. We're going to do that. These are the legislation that this person or this A party is proposing, and this is what it aims to do for American citizens. Then B, then C, or again, 1, 2, 3, however you want to name it. But you'll never know the party until after. I wonder how that will look like. But I just thought that's an intriguing idea. Will that ever happen? Probably not in my lifetime. Probably not in my lifetime. But as I have highlighted here, it says Noem's visit suggests that administration won't back down on its policy to accelerate mass deportation with little to no due process. Okay. Now, here's a good one. Danish Prime Minister, she has praised the people of Greenland for their resilience and amid pressure from President Donald Trump's administration to cede the semi-autonomous Danish territory to the United States, despite aggressive overtures and proposals from the U.S., because nearly all Greenlanders oppose becoming part of the U.S., as reflected in opinion polls and recent anti-American protests on the Arctic island. Now, the Prime Minister commendation underscored the strength and unity of the Greenlandic people in the face of external pressure, because what they're stating here is that Donald Trump is not letting up. She states that here that Denmark's PM. She cautions Greenlanders that President Trump's interest of Greenland is not going away because of its strategic and military and mineral value. Okay. Don't forget, this is not strategic military position that Greenland is in. This also has to do with their vast mass of resources for the largest island in the world with 56,000 people on this island. Okay. with 56,000 people on this island. But nonetheless, you're the Danish prime minister, and you're cautioning a territory of Denmark by the way of Greenland, who's autonomous, but still you guys supposed to be providing security. Why are you cautioning them? You need to start fortifying your land. Again, I'm speaking very neutral here because they stated that Donald Trump has hinted taking over Greenland even by force. This is what they say, that he hinted that somehow. Yeah, is any sort of military operation on the table of acquiring Greenland? Well, it's not off the table. You know how politicians speak. It's not off the table. Not stating that they will, not stating what they won't. But this is how they're looking at it. Not like how she's looking at it, but this is how they're looking at it. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a ceasefire in the Black Sea, facilitated by no other, the United States of America. We've been the mediators here. And the agreement aims to ensure safe navigation and eliminate military use of commercial vehicles. Interesting. However, Russia compliance is contingent upon the lifting of certain sanctions, which is a condition that Ukraine is reluctant to accept. And the truce also includes a moratorium on strikes against energy infrastructure, though both sides have accused each other of prior violations. Now, while the U.S. seeks to facilitate Russia's agricultural market access, the European Union demands a Russian withdrawal from Ukrainian territories first. This complex agreement highlights the intricate geopolitical dynamics at play and raises questions about its long-term viability. And this is why I state that America should have never been involved in this. And we should not be involved in this. We should just go along our merry old way. We should not be involved in this at all. We should hand this over to the EU nations who are there in that territory, in that region, that will have more direct support. They understand the culture of Ukraine, the culture of Russia. They understand the nuances that Americans, we just don't understand. And anytime America, as we used to state that America is the world's police, we keep everybody in check, I don't think we should be the world's police anymore. It's been very expensive. It's been very costly. We have lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors, and Coast Guard trying to be the world police. And all the battles and conflicts and wars we've been in trying to be the world police. Yeah, we have allies that we should assist because we may need our allies. But when it comes to something, when you look at the history of Ukraine and Russia, and that if you dig back far enough, you will understand that Ukraine, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know I have a lot of historians out there, leave it in the video, leave it in the comment section, but tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not above approach. I could be wrong. Isn't Ukraine behind the creation of the Soviet Union? That's my question. Is Ukraine behind the creation and the unification of the Soviet Union? I digress. The only reason why I'm making that point or asking that question is because there's so much history that the basic American doesn't know, let alone the basic politician doesn't know. There's a lot to draw from this. So the best people, in my opinion, to handle this situation are those countries in close proximity of Russia as well as Ukraine. Yeah, it's time for us to back down. Sometimes you got to let people fight their own battles and let their friends who say they're their friends and or their neighbors help them. Help them more so than they've helped us. Because there's some things I just don't see here.
On the Black Sea is part of Moscow's increasing ambitions in an area that is crucial for European security and home to a number of NATO member states. The base is located in Ochamchira in Abkhazia, a breakaway region of Georgia which is de facto controlled by Russian-backed separatist forces. Its location has raised fears Russia could use it to disrupt the entire Black Sea region by hitting back at Ukraine, hijacking lucrative trade routes, and threatening the security of NATO member states.
This is what I was referring to, is that how far Russia occupies and infiltrates Ukraine, the closer they get to other European countries, and the bombardment of their ballistic missiles, the reach of the destruction that they can actually cause. So I understand the strategic value of Ukraine. And this is why, again, Russia may be even attack it. And I just think that to a certain point that President Putin wants to, reconstruct the Soviet Union in some regards. That's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking here. Now, in a very controversial move, the Social Security Administration, no less, has appointed Scott Coulter, an operative from the Department of Government Efficiency, as its new chief information officer. And this appointment comes despite a court order barring DOGE associates from assessing personal data of beneficiaries. And critics argue that this decision could compromise the privacy and security of sensitive information. Okay. Then it states here that the White House spent much of yesterday arguing that the Yemen attack information they accidentally shared with the Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, but it says DOGE does it again. You see how sometimes news can be very misleading? They just want you guys to just read the headline and then engulf you in the story. But it absolutely had nothing to do with it at all. It's crazy. Now, recent cuts to foreign aid by countries like the United States are projected to have devastating consequences, with an estimated 369,000 additional child deaths annually due to severe malnutrition. Despite these cuts, Greenland has received funding for a national dog sled race, raising questions about the allocations of resources and priorities in foreign aid distribution. And of course, this has sparked outrage and calls for a reevaluation of aid policies to ensure that life-saving interventions are not compromised. Now, I truly don't know what the heck is going on here. Now, granted, they try to make this a heart-wrenching and heartfelt story that America, the big evil, big bullies on the world stage, has cut funding to U.S. aid, which will cause 369,000 children to go hungry, to starve, and be malnutrition. But in retrospect, America has funded a dog race in Greenland. Now, again, I'm trying to find more information to see if this is true or not. One, cutting the funding. Two, funding a dog race in Greenland. And again, is this some sort of ploy to encourage, to sway, to convince Greenlanders that we are interested in assuming them to be a U.S. territory, or like Canada, the 51st state? I don't know. But again, I'll have to find out more information. I'm still combing through a lot of, news stories, information, verifiable information, as I just got back in the country within the past 24 hours or so. But again, I'm gonna keep you guys abreast of these situations as well as others, because this is just kind of weird. Okay, hopefully this is not the case, or hopefully that this funding, the funding that they're speaking about, was already on the books to be paid out, and it's something that was overlooked, that they didn't cut or they didn't stop. Because again, as you notice, there's just so much money leaving the United States of America. Medicaid. Now, we know that Medicaid serves as a very critical safety net for millions of Americans. We never know if we'll be in the position if we need Medicaid or not. But as of last year, October, approximately 72 million individuals were enrolled in Medicaid, with an additional 7.2 million in the Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP. And beneficiaries include low-income adults, children, pregnant women, elderly adults, and individuals with disability. Notably, 47.4% of enrollees are children, highlighting the program's role in supporting the nation's youth as discussions about potential budget cuts continue. Understanding the demographics and need of Medicaid recipients is essential for informed policy decisions. And here's my take. I've done many stories of how Medicaid was funding illegal immigrants through SNAP, through CHIP, through SSI payments. A lot of illegal immigrants was actually receiving millions, again, not as one person, but as groups, millions of dollars from Medicaid. And that absolutely needed to stop. Let me share some information with you guys very quickly here. It states here that as congressional Republicans seek about $4.5 trillion to extend inspiring tax cuts, the federal government will need to find savings elsewhere. Experts say budget cuts could affect Medicare coverage for as many as millions of Americans at a time. And here's my thing. Once we eradicate a lot of the illegal immigrants who are getting paid from Medicaid and getting assistance from Medicaid, that will alleviate a lot of the debt. That was going to free up this $4.5 trillion for Americans. We can still allocate that to Americans. Now, and again, all of those people who are receiving payouts and payments and assistance from Medicaid who are illegally in the country, those need to be cut first, because then we can really see how many Americans, one, were actually getting help, two, how many more Americans that we can help. How many more Americans that we can help. And let me leave you guys with this one story. Again, I like to do something very intriguing, interesting, or funny at the end of my broadcast. Kind of just started that not too long ago. But I want to point something out to you guys right here in this video. And let me read what it says here. The I don't need a man generation. Now, I've said this many a times on my broadcast. I don't know what women who are independent and don't need a man or state that they don't need a man. I always tell people, I need a woman. I'm glad I'm married. I need a woman. Not that I want a woman. I need a woman. I want to live this life with a woman. They bring a different mindset, a different perspective to things. You know, men were rough, rugged, and were quick to do certain things, where women like sometimes can give you expert advice. Babe, you should think about that before you take that next step. Because we do it to women, right? Men are supposedly very logical, even though men, we can be very emotional. That's why we probably fight more than women. Well, we used to. But no, we fight more than women. We come to anger or madness more than women. That's why we have all these wars. But again, in regards to relationship, we tend to be very logical. For men who are very sensible and have a good head on their shoulders, we're not so quick to lash out, whether it be verbally, physically, intellectually, because you can beat people down that as well, or psychologically, right? Playing mind games with your significant other or people of the opposite sex, no less. But as I look at this, I'm gonna say I need a woman for a lot of reasons, more than just what the patriarch or the matriarch look at. So women should be having babies and cooking food and da-da-da-da. No. It's much more than that. Companionship, understanding the other side, a sense. Because again, women can make you know what? I won't go there. I'm just going to share this video with you guys very quickly. Bear with me. And here's the video. It's very quick. It's very, very quick here.
You said what?
You said who's selling tie? Yeah. It's a tie shop down the street, y'all. Literally right down the street.
You gotta turn that power up some more.
Yeah, fuck this shit.
They need to turn it off.
Make sure that shit hold. Make sure that shit hold now. Make sure that shit hold. Make sure that shit stick.
Yeah, they get taped up.
Bitches.
I just believe that we both need each other. And don't get me wrong, this is a very singular, ideal example. There's many women who know how to change a tire, but of course, we will make the comparison, how many men versus how many women know how to change a tire. I would like to believe that a lot more men know how to change a tire than women. And then men, even myself, I know a lot of men don't, but I do. If I don't know how to do something, I'm very quick to read. I'm very quick to get on my phone. Here's another thing. What's up with this generation not looking up the basic things to do? Like, they can look at TikTok and Instagram all day, but soon as it's something that needs to be done, like change your tire, no one knows how to change your tire. Like, where's your block set? Where's your car jacks? You know, where's your hydraulic jack? Cause that'll make it easier than that when you turn like this, that'll hurt your that'll hurt your shoulders. But again, you know, she got the air compressor there. Okay, she has the air compressor there. And I don't know if she got a flat. I would like to believe she got a flat. She thought she can plug it by using tape. Did she know that, like me, I keep a can of Fix-A-Flat in my car as well as my wife's car? Because again, I'm not going to use that same tire. I'm not going to get it plugged and patched. I'm not going to do that. Hey, here's Fix-A-Flat, babe. If you ever get a flat, you don't want to call AAA, because we have AAA. We have a roadside assistance. You don't want to call that. Maybe whatever the case may be. You can be in some place where you don't have coverage. Fix-A-Flat, you put in there, it provides the air pressure, it seals up the hole, and I think most Fix-A-Flats will give you about 50 miles. But make sure you get the right Fix-A-Flat, because they have Fix-A-Flats for sedans and they have Fix-A-Flats for SUVs as well. That's a very quick fix. Go to Discount Tires, go to your dealership, whatever. Go get your tire replaced. But that right there, okay, and they're just taping her, laughing at her. I don't know the conversations that I don't need no man. I got this myself. But as you can see, the car is a wreck. The whole and back tire window is duct tape. The hood looks off a line. And again, I just think that we're better together. It don't matter your financial status, but you get a healthy man and a healthy woman together. You guys have friends and your friends have friends, and somebody would help you. But when you're by yourself, because you can do everything by yourself, and this goes for men too, just know, in my opinion, we are better together. Thank you guys for joining me here this morning. I'm glad to be back. You guys have a great and wonderful day. And by the way, in the next week or so, I would be releasing my vacation videos. Anytime I go on vacation, I tend to do a video to inform, to show you guys in case you want to go to those countries as well. I'll talk to you in the next one. This is Blacklogic.